All right. Now that we're official, hey everybody, thank you so much for joining. If you don't know me, I don't know why you're here, but I hope my name is Srivatsaa. Thank you so much for reading our emails and being with us. Our goal for today is to introduce you to something that is very near and dear to Joey and Russ in our hearts. We thought the best way to do this was to actually do this in a very casual way to give you an introduction to the entire idea of financial freedom and passive income and how to structure that for yourselves. So, three things that are going to be true today. Number one, we hope that you can put away your devices, etc., and let us entertain you for the next 30 to 45 minutes. If for some reason we stop entertaining you, then you can go ahead and pick those devices back up, and that would be, that means we didn't do our job. Number two, we have nothing to sell you today, so you can put wallets away and things like that. As people ask questions, we'll give you ideas on how to get more information. We may have an event coming up. We'll tell you about that. We're happy to answer stuff, but there's nothing, we're not going to send you to a page to buy anything today or anything like that. So please, that's not going to happen. But number three, the thing that I would ask for right now is that at the end of today, we're going to share a quick link, which is a 3-question, 10-second survey that will give us a chance to understand how we did to support you today. So, nothing to buy, but all we ask for is a commitment that you will just spend the 10 seconds and click the 3 buttons so that we'll know kind of how we did today. If that all sounds good, can you just give me a good in the chat so we can roll and it feels good as an overall agenda? Okay, awesome. Fantastic. Thank you. Like kind of said in the stage, Russ and Joey, I have I would love to draw for 10 seconds, if it's okay with you. Is there anything else that you want to add before we kick off?
Just don't let Russ draw. Please. You go ahead. Just don't let him.
Just let me tell stories. That's what I want to do, Sharran. That's all I like to do is tell stories.
Awesome. So I'll try to spotlight. I don't know if I can do that. I'll try to pin. Yeah, y'all can see me full screen. Is that right? Maybe not. If you can see my screen, hopefully this sounds good. So here's our game plan. Awesome. Thank you, Russ. Here's our game plan for today. I'll give you. It always helps for us to know kind of where we're going and what we're doing. So I'll walk through this. That way you'll know that we're on time and we're on track. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's Sharran or Russ or Joey just going to drown on something. We're not going to do that. We're going to keep it tight. So we're going to start off with, hey, why is all this really important? Meaning in three ways. Why is this important? Why is this important right now? And why should you care about what Russ, Joey, and I think? I think that's super important for you to know. We'll give you a super high level of it. Here's number 2. Without actually defining what financial freedom means, I think it gets a little difficult. And I'll actually tell you a story about what Russ and Joey told me when I originally started working with them. The third is there's a lot of reasons which made each of us flip and be like, oh my goodness, why am I waiting till 60 to do this? Why should I do this right now? And I know both Russ and Joey have some reasons on why they actually started this. So they'll take a very short amount of time. We'll do that. And the next part of it is what you actually came for, which is the 3 ways to actually generate passive income. And I won't give you the answers right now. I'll give you the 3 ways, X, Y, and Z. And then to actually make it even better, Russ, Joey, and I are going to give you an example 1, example 2, and example 3 on exactly what we're doing live right now in our active investing, in our active passive income journeys that you can model and learn from so that you feel like you can say, I like that, I don't like this, I like that, I don't like this. This is our game plan overall for today. If that sounds good, just give us like a, oh cool, awesome. We got, you guys, so you like I love it when people like our agendas. This is awesome. So Russ, Joey, let me ask you a question really quick, and you guys may not even remember this. I'll take my spotlight off. So let me tell you about my first many of you don't know this. Russ and Joey run an amazing company called Wealth Wall Street, and they also run the Passive Income Mastermind. And I'm a friend and advisor and partner in all of that, and I love Russ and Joey for one main thing that they opened my eyes to. And I'll tell you this. I don't know if you guys remember this. One of my first conversations with Russ and Joey, they asked me the question about, hey, tell us about some financial goals and targets. And I said, well, I know only one way. My job is to make a ton of money hopefully accumulate it so that when I'm 70, I can have a decent life. And Russ was like, hey, why wait till you're 70? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, why do you want to wait till you're 70 to have the life that you can have today? And that's when I knew I love these guys. And I would be like, he's so practical. He's so sharp. Do you even remember that conversation, Russ?
Sort of. I mean,
or is it that's the conversation you have with everybody?
Yeah, it wasn't unique to you, but yes. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I remember, Sean. Every single conversation we've ever had, 1,000%.
So let's talk exactly about that, because that goes to the heart of why this is important. I know you fundamentally, a lot of people decide to wait till later, and you have both of you have a very different thought process around that. I think that frames this conversation very well.
Yeah, I would say this is that here's the thought process. And like you, man, I came out of Wall Street, right? I was a certified financial planner. Everything that I had been taught and would teach was based upon the concept of accumulating. We need this, multi-7-figure number in an account, and typical retirement account, 401ks, IRAs, that so forth and so on. And, that we ride off into the sunset when that number is big enough. And I came to this realization that, one, my kids are not going to want to do things with me in the future that they want to do now, but also that I didn't ever have a surety that would actually happen. And one, because as an advisor, I went through all those downturns. I saw people's accounts, go from, those numbers to, their 401k became 201ks, right? And people who said they were retired ultimately became unemployed because they knew that they didn't have enough money, so they had to go back into the workforce somehow, but yet they weren't in there. And I thought, man, there's got to be a better way. And this isn't unique to Joey and I, but we started modeling and researching what other people were doing and said, hey, the path to financial freedom is just when we have passive income, money that comes in that we don't have to go to work for, and that's greater than our monthly expenses. And that became an easy number. So right now, and everybody, here's a quick takeaway. Write down on a piece of paper on the left side, write down how much passive income you have. Okay, so that's money that comes in from rental properties that you have. Maybe you're an artist or you're an author and you got book sales coming in. Maybe you're an influencer and you got money coming in from things that you're doing on Instagram or YouTube or whatever it may be. Or maybe you're a typical real estate investor and you got money coming in from those things. Write that number down real quickly on the left side of your paper, and then
it's okay. And it's okay if it's zero.
Yeah, no, it's fine if it's zero. Be honest. I would say most people we come in contact with, including Joey and I, at the beginning of this journey, were at zero. And then on the right side of the paper, you roughly should know how much you spend every month. I know it varies. I'm not talking about December, and I'm not talking about the month that you take the big trip, right? On a typical month, how much are we spending? So if on the left side of the paper, my number is $500 a month, and the right side of the paper, my number is 10 grand a month, right? That tells me, if I take the number on the left and I divide it into the number on the right, it tells me how close to financial freedom am I really at? I mean, that's something that immediately you have that information. And before I got to that equation, Sharran, I didn't know, right? Like I didn't know all those factors, right? I didn't know, well, how much will I spend when I retire? What will the interest rates be? What am I going to earn between now and then? What will I earn after I start retiring? There's all these factors that constantly change that number and constantly keep me in flux. But I know how much money I spend today. That's a really easy number. I know how much I have coming in passive income today. I can measure against that. I can say as a percentage, how close am I to financial freedom?
Yeah, so good. Joey, you told me something the other day, and you said, hey, I don't invest or I don't spend time and resources into anything that just does not generate cash flow for me, whether I use that cash flow or not. And that switch probably happened for you at some point.
It did.
What was that point? Because I will tell you right now, all of us, me included, from the Wall Street world as an entrepreneur, to me the only path is accumulation. But you have this singular focus saying, hey, if it does not generate cash flow, whether I use the cash flow or not, if it does not generate cash flow, I am not interested. And
right.
And yeah, how did that happen for you?
Well, I'll say first things first. You made the connection to accumulation being what financial success is like. I came up in the ranks of, even after having read Rich Dad Poor Dad, which I kicked myself, right? I was like in my young 20s when I read that book. Even after having read that, I brought myself to understand that the higher my income was, that was financial success. And so here I was making over $300,000 in my 20s in a high commission sales job in the mortgage industry. And I thought, this is what success would be like. This is far more than I would have been thinking I'd be making at this time in my life. And quite the opposite was the feeling, right? I didn't feel like I had access to hardly any cash. It was all kind of in all these kind of different buckets, 401ks, IRAs, starting to think about college savings and these things. And worse, I didn't feel successful because my time was completely gone. Like literally, I had no bandwidth, to the point where I remember going on vacations with my family and sending my wife and kids down to the beach and saying, hey, I'll be right behind you. I just have to take one more call. And 2 hours later, I'm walking down the boardwalk to the beach, and they're walking past me with this just face of disgust. Like, I can't believe he's here, but he's not here. Right. And I'll tell you one other quick story. My daughter is the one that kind of flipped the switch for me. Right. Because even in the midst of that kind of disappointment at the beach, I still felt like, man, I'm killing it. Like, I'm working so hard. I'm making great money. This is awesome. Well, I'm going to show you a picture of her real quick, because I think she's just, she's adorable. But this is Adler, and you can see my screen, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. This is Adler, and this is when she's much older, but she was probably 2 or 3 at the time. And I was taking her to school, and she just had this very simple conversation with me. She said, Dad, you gonna pick me up from work or from school today? And I said, no, baby, I can't. And then it comes from the back seat. Well, why are you not going to pick me up? Well, I have to work. Why do you have to work? Well, I have to pay for things like this car. I have to pay for the house. I have to pay for food. But we already have a house. We already have a car. And what kind of clicked at that moment for me was I had to tell my daughter I have to go to work. And at the same moment, there were things that I knew were in her mind that she wanted to do with me, like play with the dolls that she has. There are things like, I'm going to share another silly picture here, but this is her selling rocks and seashells at my house, which, by the way, is crazy. She's going to outsell any of us on this call in her later years, because if you can go pick up rocks in the same neighborhood and sell them to your neighbors, you're a genius salesperson. Anyway, my point is at this age, she only wants to do things that she's ever going to want to do at this age. And what was I leaving on the table by having to go to work in her life right now? That was kind of just, flying through my brain when we had that simple conversation. And that was the anchor point, Sharran. That was the point that I said, Russ, we got to get serious about this, man. We've been hearing about passive income. We know the experts. It's got to happen. Like, this is a must do. It's not a want to at this point.
Yeah, it's thank you for sharing. Let's for 10 seconds, let's ask a quick question. I just went on vacation, and it would only be fair for me to say that for a couple days, I was that guy. I was that guy that said, I'll be right back and I'll meet you at the pool. I was that guy that said, you stay in the water, I'm going to stay on this pool chair, right? So if anyone has ever felt that way, either your child asked you in the car, or either you were on vacation, or you felt like you had to continue to work for your income, but you're like, I'm doing better, but my time's not quite there yet. Just from an honesty perspective, can you just put a me in the chat so we feel like, it's real, right? And I'm telling you, this happened last week, so it'd only be fair if we accepted that. Patrick's like, what's vacation? That's exactly right, and thank you for the honesty around it. And I think that Joey, the idea around it is, for a lot of us, the accumulation vehicle has been the only path. And when I would love today, let me quickly share my screen. I would love today to say, you know what if we had other paths? What if we had other paths? And I want to talk y'all through three, what I think of it. I'm sure Russ and Joey have a different idea or a more upgraded idea on this. But if you have passive income as the main idea, if you have passive income as kind of the core focus, and you said passive income was the answer, to me, I think about, I love a model of saying, well, which one do I want to go after? So I think there's three ways to get down this passive income journey. The first, I'll write each of the paths down. There's an effort path, there is an investing path, and there's a promoting path. And I'll explain each of these paths. And interestingly, what I will tell you is, Russ, Joey, and I together have done all of these in some way, right? And the easiest way is in different stages in your career, you'll pick different paths. So let's talk about the effort path, the investing path, and the promoting path. So I'll give you an example of the effort path. The effort path is where you're not writing a check or investing in someone else's business, or you're not promoting someone else. You're literally saying, hey, I'm going to work hard now. I'm going to plant the seed of effort, and that seed of effort will grow. And over time, that's my plant flower thing going on there. So
beautiful.
Let's make sure I color this.
Remember, please don't let Russ draw.
Yes.
Just
so the effort path is important. I'll give you an example of the effort path. And I may have, Russ and Joe, I don't know if I've shared this with you. I'll give you an example of effort. I'll give you two examples. Example number one, I have a partnership right now with a real estate agent and a contractor. So it's a three-way partnership, and it looks like this. It's a three-way partnership. And how it works is, it's Sharran, it's the general contractor, and it's the agent, right? So our job is to fix and flip homes or rent them out. We're doing a lot of rental right now. So Sharran is the capital. This is where I'm investing, but the general contractor and the agent, they're straight up effort. So I will tell you right now, in the last 10 years, we have done several flips, but we currently own 17 homes. And we split everything a third. So for all the work that they did over the last 10 years, they now have a third of 17 homes, or they have 6 homes, if you think about it, right? 860 and 5 and 1/8 or whatever. So all of us get passive income from this. Yes, I wrote a check, but they used effort. They sowed the seeds yesterday so they can continue to get paid in the future. Sometimes, if you have a skill that you can contribute to a partnership or an idea, it's really powerful. I'll give you another thing that happened. I have a client, Russ and Joey know, who is an attorney. And he is in the process of selling his practice. And what we decided was not to sell the whole practice, right? So he's going to sell 49% of his practice because he put all the effort over the last 20 years in building it. And all it's going to say is, it's just going to still have his name on it, but there's going to be a 51% controlling partner that joins it. So they're just going to split the profits 49-51, and he can stop working. Like, think about that for a second, right? So a lot of times we think that just because we put the effort in, that's not passive income. It's passive. His time goes to zero. He does not have to work in the business anymore, but based on that, he's going to make everything that he makes is passive. And the fascinating part is, if you are in the sales commission business, people always think that if you're an insurance broker, like Russ and Joey know this, commercial insurance, life insurance, if you're a real estate sales commission, mortgage, etc., we think that we've built our book of business and we can just one day we just like it's done. It's not. I'm right now in the process of helping a really large real estate agent actually sell her book of business while keeping her brand. Think about this. All she wanted to do was to keep her brand. So she's going to do an 80-20 split with this new person. She's going to get a little buyout, and then she's going to get paid for life. Like, think about that. Till she dies, right? So for the effort that you sow today, don't let it think that you only have to invest money to get passive income. You can say, hey, I'm going to do something today so that it pays later as well. So that's number one. I'll go through the number 2 and 3 really quick. The second one on the investment stuff, you know very easily. Hey, you write a check to a deal, and the deal pays you back every month. And that's great. So Russ and Joey call this money sitting in your Bank of America account, they call it lazy money, lazy cash. Sometimes Russ and Joey think I don't pay attention. I pay. Good student right here. They're like, why do you have all this lazy cash in your Bank of America account, right?
Taking a nap.
Taking a nap. And so that's another way where you can write a check and then the check pays you back. That's the investment. The last part of this, let's talk about the promotion for 1 second. There's 2 ways to think about promotion. One is the affiliate way, and the other is the MLM or the network marketing way. And Russ, Joe, you can talk about our friends who've done a really great job with the network marketing stuff. But literally what happens in the affiliate network marketing way is you don't build a product or a service or an investment. You just use your influence, your database, your list, your effort to promote someone else's stuff. And they pay you a, quote, commission for the entire duration of the product, right? So I'll give you a very simple example. A lot of my mastermind group clients work with CRMs, and I talk about email marketing and things like that. And they're like, well, Sharran, where should I start? I'm like, hey, if you don't mind, there's this company called ActiveCampaign. Go to sharran.com/tools, sign up for ActiveCampaign. I have all my ActiveCampaign templates. I'll just give it to you. That way you can and they don't care what the difference is. I'm blatantly telling you what I do, right? Russ and Joey sign up for ActiveCampaign. I give them my templates because I already have built it. They start using it because they're much faster in getting up and running with it. But now ActiveCampaign, the third-party email marketing service, for every $100 that you pay, they pay me $13, $14, 15%. But they pay me every single month. And to think about it, when you say passive, I don't do anything, right? Nothing. I just get a check every month. And now if I sold 200 of those, I make, 15 times 200 every single month. So the promotion capabilities are powerful as well. So let's pause really quick. If you took the 3 models that I'm putting up on the screen, if you took the 3 models, call this number 1, I'll put this up. If you call this number 1, call this number 2, and call this number 3, in chat, could you just say, hey, which one feels the most accessible for you right now? Number 1, number 2, or number 3? Which one feels? So we got a bunch of 1s, 2s and 3s, 1s, 2s, 3s. 3s are really powerful. 1 and 3s, 1 and 3s, 1 and 2s, 2s and 3s. Promote 3s, awesome. So across the board, right? Across the board. 1 and 3 sounds awesome. Yeah. By the way, the 3s are very accessible to you. We just don't like. Every single one of you should have an Amazon affiliate account. You're recommending books all the time. Some people think that, I only got $6 from Amazon. $6, I'm just making it up, for not doing anything is amazing. Like, right. Every month that someone just wrote your check, like you're like, $6 is nothing. Like, you'll start to figure out how to grow that.
Well, here's the thing is that, we've had a guy on our show that started out, Sharran, writing content just because he loved it around an exam around the architecture, and he's doing this little he was kind of in a chat room. He's an architect, and he just like being a part of this, and people kept having questions around this architectural exam, And so he decided to write a little course up, and people are like, man, you need to charge for that. Like, this is so amazing. This helped me pass the exam. I would have never passed the exam. And so he put a little fee on it. And all of a sudden he started getting these checks in the mail. Well, fast forward 10 years down the road, now he's making $250,000 a month. Now, not from just that one thing, but what that one little thing did, it was open up his brain to say, man, what else? What are those other things, right? And now he runs a podcast called Smart Passive Income.
Yeah, Pat Flynn. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, you never know what those things are going to be for you. And sometimes we think, oh, well, I don't have the money. I can't invest, right? Like I can't do this passive income thing like you, Sharran. Like can't do this like Joey, because I just don't have that money. But to your point, all those, maybe we're the one that's going to give effort, right? Maybe we're the ones that are going to promote. Like maybe we're going to have to gain experience through someone else so that we can create it. And you never know what that's going to lead to. I'll share my screen here. This is something that Joey and I share every single month on our podcast, just sharing our numbers. But the point of this is to say, man, there's all these different things. You can see this pie chart has effort, right? It has investing in it, and it has promotion in it. It's made up of all three. So we've found a way over the years to try to get involved in all of those.
Yeah. And just for folks that that look at this, when you see, you by the way, you can go to wealthwithoutwallstreet.com and see the monthly report, listen to Russ and Joey's podcast. They literally share all the numbers, and there's amazing power in the transparency, right? The diversity of how you do it is what's important. Like I always go back to Joey's thought, which is, well, I don't mind putting in this effort if it's going to generate cash flow later. I don't mind promoting you if it's going to generate cash flow later. There's a lot of singularity of focus around that cash flow, around that passive income, because sometimes we may write a check, sometimes we may promote, and all of us should do a little bit of everything, and then suddenly you'll figure out, because we're in different seasons of our lives, right? I'll tell you right now, many of you are part of our multifamily investing group. Robert, my partner Robert, and I, we've been investing for a while together. We decided to build a company and it's going really well. But we are not expecting to take a penny out of this business for 7-8 years until everybody gets paid and more. And that allows us a much longer time horizon from an effort perspective to get paid later. That's the one, that's all straight up effort for me, right? Because I'm doing all the work now. So hopefully starting years 5, 6, and 7 for the rest of my life, it'll start to pay out in passive deal flow. Right? So if we hit the key portions of it so far, can you just say good in the chat? That way I'd love to go quickly to some examples so you can see this come live. Awesome. Super. So here's what I'll say. I'd love for Russ, Joey, and I are going to share some active examples of what we're doing right now. In the meantime, it's great to have three of us on chat, because while Russ is on, I'll look at the chat. While Joey's on, Russ will look at the chat. So if you have a question or a thought, or you want us to dig deeper on something, just please put it in the chat. We're here to share, so we might as well just give you everything while you have the question in mind. Let's Russ, Joey, let's talk about. You want to showcase an idea or something that's been working well for you guys. Maybe I may even, one of you should talk about SDR at some point, but I think that a couple of examples would be really cool.
Yep, that's
Russ's baby.
I love the SDR space. So, and as my mom likes to call it, the Airbnb space, right? And if any of us could ever be so good to come up with an idea that other people name our business that idea, like that is amazing, right? Like if you were Kleenex, the brand Kleenex, that's what people call it. Like, I need a tissue. No, that we say, can I get a Kleenex, right? And if somebody wants to stay at a short-term rental, which is anytime less than 30 days, what do they say these days? I stayed at an Airbnb. Like, that's awesome. Yeah. So the short-term rental space, I think, is one of the most interesting spaces that exists out there. Before a couple of years ago, most people thought, well, I have to have Sharran's kind of money to be in this place, right? Because either you had a place at the beach, right? Whether it's Malibu or it's down in the Gulf, or I have to have a place in the Rockies or in the Smokies or something like that. In order to be on VRBO, I got to have millions of dollars to have this amazing place. But what's happened over the last couple of years is people realize that the Airbnb marketing company has now made it accessible for every one of us. Like, we can be renting our house, a room in our house, an apartment. We don't even have to have it. We could do something called rental arbitrage. just so I know how many people understand it. If you understand what rental arbitrage is, say me.
Yeah.
All right. We got a decent amount of people.
Yeah. Can you do a super high level definition of it?
Yeah. So rental arbitrage. This is really exciting. Joey and I did an interview maybe 2 or 3 years ago with the guy, and he shared this experience with us. He said, I realized that I had a house and I was renting it out on Airbnb, and the guy I was flying next to, I was explaining my idea to him. And he said, "You've got the most amazing idea." And he was talking about his little apartment. He said, "No, you've got the concept. All you need to do, you don't need to go buy houses or buy apartments. All you need to do is go rent a place and then put that on those platforms." So rental arbitrage is where you rent long-term from an owner, whether that be a house all the way down to an apartment, condo, whatever it may be. And then you put that property up on Airbnb or VRBO, your own private site. So for instance, Joey and I, we have a short-term rental portfolio. It has 25, 26 different units, and everyone except one, we use this method of rental arbitrage, meaning we rent it on a monthly basis. Let's just pretend the monthly basis is $1,000 a month. So we pay a landlord $1,000 a month to rent their property. And by the way, we don't do this on the slide. We let them know in advance. Hey, by the way, this is what we're going to do. We talk through all the pros and all the cons. And now we have these places come to us every single month saying, hey, by the way, we have a couple more units. You guys want them? And we have to turn them down. But now we take that property and then we put it up on Airbnb. So the very first property we had actually was a condo that Joey owned. And he'd been renting this property for $950 a month long-term for the last 10 plus years. And I convinced Joey after listening to this podcast, I said, Joey, we're going to put this on Airbnb and we're going to start short-term renting. He's like, I don't think that's a good idea. I was like, it's going to be a great idea. He's like, how do you know? I was like, I don't, but let's try, right? What do we have to lose? The very first month, Sharran, that we rented this property, we made over $3,500 in revenue. He had been renting it $950 a month every month for the previous 10 years. And all we did differently is that we put furniture in it and we posted it on Airbnb and let them advertise for us, right? So he went from making like $150 a month in profit to where now we average somewhere around $1,500 a month net after all expenses for this property. And so it's like, that's amazing. How can we multiply it? And so we scaled like really quickly. We scaled to over 15 units in the first 10 to 11 months. And we start marketing to people who you're like, man, maybe my town isn't as popular and as well-traveled as Birmingham, Alabama. Right.
Said no one ever.
Right. Like who's coming to Birmingham? Like not on a bet, but who does come to Birmingham? Oh, people who have soccer games, people who have swim meets, people who have baseball tournaments, people who want to come to one of the 3 or 4 hospitals that exist here. Maybe they're coming to visit the university and they're either working or they have a student there or they want to be a student there. Maybe their house is not ready, right? Like maybe they're moving into town, their house isn't ready. Maybe their house had a tornado hit it. We have several of those people. Maybe their house is being remodeled on purpose and they need a place to go. Like the place, our tenants are endless, right? There's very few people who are like, hey, I just want to come to Birmingham to check out the fill in the blank. There is no fill in the blank, by the way. You go to TripAdvisor and it's like, you're at the wrong place.
Turn around.
But what's happened is that we've created a cash flowing business. This month, we just reported it on our numbers. We're over $21,000 this month in profit. We've taken a business that we knew nothing about and now have created over 7 figures in revenue from this business. And
but here's the best part though. Like, you started this, it's been like roughly 18 months, not even 18 months ish, maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. July will be 2 years.
Yeah. July 2020 is when we started.
2 years. And here's the best part. Out of this 21K in profit, Russ and Joey time is how many hours a month?
Somewhere between 4 to 5.
Yeah. 4 to 5 hours per month, because Russ and Joey went into this saying, hey, we're going to find an operator. So they actually built, if you think about the triangle that we talked about, this was a little effort, this was a little investment, and this was a little promotion, all kind of connected to each other. But once this effort was done, it was done. A little investment to get it started, and then it was done. The investment started to zero out and pay off. And the promotion and the management, the operator handled it. Right? Which is pretty powerful as well.
And also, let me add one thing to this, Sharran.
Yeah.
From the barrier of entry, this model of arbitrage makes so much sense. It helps people that don't have a ton of actual capital to work. Do you think about it? If I had to purchase these properties, it was a $300,000 piece of property, I'd have to have $60,000 just as a down payment minimum, plus all of the furnishings. And so you're easily in the $80,000 to $85,000 range just to buy a property to do this with. Whereas I can get into very similar sized property in the same location for $1,200 a month rent. So 1 month's rent, and then the furnishings maybe $20,000 or whatever it may be, and I'm in business.
But Joey, here's the question somebody asked in the chat, which I love, is how do I know it will work? How do I know it will work? What would you say to them?
I would say, first of all, the CEO of Airbnb talks about the massive demand that is in the marketplace right now, that he needs 1 million more hosts just to keep up with demand. Now, in your particular neighborhood or area or wherever you are, I can't speak to that. What I would tell you is that there are tools out there like AirDNA. If you want to look that up, you can use that. There potentially have to pay a small fee to do some research, but I think it's well worth it.
Well, here's what you could do. Go to Airbnb, right? Like put your city in there and see how many other units are available out there. See what people, and you could even look on their calendars, like just act like you're trying to rent it and see how many, days do they have rented out in the month. There's so many opportunities that exist out there. And one of the things that Joey and I did, and this is a way you can test this too, you can do some coming soon type stuff, and you can like see how many inquiries you have. And we don't pretend to say that this works in every single market, every single time, but I've not seen a market that it didn't work in. Because we our operator actually built out a whole course and started teaching people and has been teaching people for the last 18 months. And no matter what market they were in, they found that there was a demand, right? The key is just knowing who you're serving. Like if we were only wanted to serve travelers, like who were coming here for, experiences, we probably would miss the market, right? But when we find, hey, people, 65-70% of our market is people coming in here for ball games of some sort. Okay, what types of units do we need to have? And so then let's go find units near those facilities, near those complexes, sports complexes and stuff.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. I think Russ, you just hit on it. If I see a lot of activity in the chat, which I love, where I love the thought process. Chris, you just say, "Hey, listen, let's go do this, right? I want to get an operator to do this." If you want in the chat, you're welcome. Just put SDR course and your email address, and our team will pick it up for you, and we'll send you the Russ and Joey's operator built out an entire course on how to actually find the property, what to actually tell the landlord, how to actually write it in the lease, how do you actually what to put in the property, how to market it, what to price it as, how to use AirDNA. Like there's a course on how to do this so you do it right the first time. So just put SDR course and your email, and we'll send you that, because I think that clearly Russ and Joey have figured it out, right? They've got the 15 units, they figured it out, and you have an operator running it. So now you have an opportunity to do that, right? Which is cool. The investment in this, there's Russ, Joey, and I are actually in multiple funds that we're like, hey, we've done this here. Here's a fund, go do it somewhere else. The funds vary. There are some mom and pop operated funds. There are some regional funds. There are some national funds. They're just like a straight up, hey, I'm just going to write a check and then get it. Just know that a big part of understanding this stuff is also understanding the underlying risk around it. 7 people can get together and try to invest and do this. There's a good chance that will fail. I will tell you right now. I love all of you. There's a good chance that will fail. Right? Because you want someone that's committed, you want a business plan, you want an operator, you want it to be run thoughtfully if you're going to do it outside of just you. Right? So that's at a high level. Here's hopefully that's helpful. Thank you. A lot of people wanted the course. I think Amy, you're on. You can see that. Here's the second part. If this kind of like hopefully this idea of rental arbitrage and understanding this makes sense, if this all makes sense, and you just give me a 1 in the chat, so I feel like this was helpful to you. Just give me a number 1 in the chat. Okay, cool, awesome. So I'm glad this all was very helpful to people, Russ and Joey. Let me give you a second idea here, and then Russ, Joey, will do a third one. I'll give you a second idea, and this is me opening up a little bit of Sharran internal stuff that you probably have not seen before. Okay, so let me explain something. I don't sell a lot of stuff. I only sell one thing online. I sell a bunch of online courses. And this online course idea, call it an online funnel, this online course idea, some people think it's my way of trying to make money. And I will tell you right now, it's not. I originally started this online course idea to saying, hey, I love writing email. I'd love to have more people on my email community. How amazing would it be if I could get more people in my email community? I realized that my best clients, my best people in my community were all productivity junkies. Entrepreneurs, business owners, salespeople, they all wanted more time. If you're seeing a pattern here, you're understanding it, like Joey talked about. The time is the component, right? We're trying to solve and optimize for time and more time. So I was like, maybe I'll make a course on productivity. And so I made this course on productivity and I tried selling it, and yes, it got blah, blah, blah. And then my coach told me, he's like, hey, Sharran, if you actually want to build passive income, you can create a separate business that literally markets and sell your courses all day long. And I was like, what do you mean? So I will tell you exactly what I have right now, and I'll give you the exact numbers as well, so you can see how this works. So I have an agency. I have an agency that I pay, and I have a copywriter that I pay. This is my staff. Okay, we then take all of this and we have a funnel. I'll give you the funnel in a second. We sell digital products and we sell it on Facebook and Instagram. Here's how this works. We run ads on Facebook and Instagram to do nothing else except generate email addresses for me so that I can talk to great people, right? The ads run to a course and people buy the course. And when they're done, they're in my email list and they're great clients. That's all I want. I will tell you what I wanted. I wanted to put $100 in ads every day, and I wanted to get $100 back when I sold the course. That way I create $0 email addresses. Does this kind of like, if this makes sense, just put a yes in the chat. That way I want you guys to know that makes sense. He spends $100 in ads, he gets $100 back in courses, and now I'm able to build a great community of people for free. I will tell you right now, no one will share this stuff with you, right? This is called self-liquidation. That is, I put $100 up front and I make money. I will tell you what started to happen. Yeah, that's zero cost of acquisition. I will tell you what started to happen. My agency and my copywriter are so good that after the first year, here's what it is. For every dollar that we spend on the ads, we make $4 back. Okay? I sell $4 worth of courses and I get emails of people for free. So think about that return. Here's the best part. I spend zero time. I don't talk to them ever. They run ads, they manage people, they run the funnel, they get paid. I make 1 to 4. Right? This is, you may say, well, what happens to the Facebook algorithm? Do you manage it? No, but in my world, as Joey would say right now, my investment is this $1 a month, and I get back $4 immediately. Right? So for every $1,000 I put in, I get $4,000. For every $10,000 I put in, I get $40,000. Now, here's the interesting part. There's a cap to that. Facebook doesn't allow you to say, well, put up $1 million and you get 4 million. Like if that was the case, I'd be taking Russ's credit cards, Joey's credit cards. I'd be raising my own fund to get you guys to give me this stuff, and then I would be running this traffic. It doesn't scale. It doesn't scale exponentially. So we are tweaking it to the point where I'm consistently making X thousands of dollars a month in completely passive right now, right? But my original goal was just to get great people to give me their email addresses so I can communicate with them. Cool. What's the max you can deploy per month to do Forex? As soon as it starts to get to between $1,000 to $2,000 a day, it starts to get wonky and unpredictable. Doesn't mean you can't do it. You have to continuously. So I can do 50 grand a month and make 4x that, which is pretty cool. Don't you have the recurring cost of the agency and the copywriter? Yes, I do. The recurring cost of the agency and the copywriter are so de minimis it doesn't even matter. Like pick a number. Let's say the agency is 5K and the copywriter is 2K. Like literally, I make that back on a Monday, right? But because that's like this is not hard. Because I have a funnel that actually works, and now they're like, dude, this is really easy. I keep making the money, which is kind of good. But it took a while to get there. You like de minimis? Yeah, thank you, Bruce. All right, so that's number 2. Let's take a pause. We talked about effort-based stuff. Russ, Joey, do you have another quick one we can talk about?
I don't know how quick it is, but I'll do my best.
He's never been.
I'm a slow talker.
Yeah, it's a slow talker. I was about to
go
say.
fast.
All right, I love land flipping. Okay, I love the fact where you can buy raw land at 25 cents on the dollar and turn around and sell it for retail 4 times that. So there's a little bit of a connection here. 4 times your ad spend on those ads versus, in this case, it's land. Janet is a rock star land flipper as well. And so what have we done here? We have put a system together where people are doing this process for us. So this is how it becomes passive. You do have to, in some cases, you can start and scale this as a side hustle and then grow to a point where it's passive. But in this case, seriously, Russ, I appreciate you. Anyway, so we're buying the land and turn around. This is why I love land. Number one, it's very difficult to quantify the value. So sometimes when people are just done with it, right? Like they've been paying taxes on land that they don't enjoy. They bought it with something in years ago, or they were given it, they were gifted it in some sort of will or whatever it may be. Now they're just, I liken it to the weed eater that is in your garage right now that you haven't used in 3 years. And if somebody walked up into your garage and they were like, Sharran, how much do you want for that weed eater? I've been thinking about getting one. And you're like, literally, I was about to take this and throw it out. And the guy says, I'll give you $5 for it. You're like, sold, right? That's what we're talking about when we talk about this raw land. It's that these people don't care about it anymore. They don't want it. You're doing them a favor by making them an offer, right? And so we're putting offers out there, buying it for 25 cents on the dollar, turn around and selling it on terms to somebody like a car loan, okay? Because here's the issue. People want to own land, but they don't have a lot of liquid capital. In fact, Russ and Sharran, like we didn't lead off with this, but we should have. We believe that the number one reason people are not financially free is lack of access to cash. We have been duped by Wall Street and big banks to constantly give our money away or to put them in places we cannot touch. And it's no different for people that want to buy land. They want to own land, but they don't have liquid cash. And so when you make it affordable to them, you say, hey, rather than you give me $40,000 for this parcel of land, I'll make you a deal. Give me $600 a month and $600 down, and we'll call it even. They're like, wow, had no idea I could afford that, but I can handle that. And now you've turned a note income and you just keep stacking those every single month. It is okay if I show my screen real quick?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. So this is our report from March. It hasn't even come out yet. We just actually recorded it today. But yeah, in our land business, we grossed almost $22,000. Our expenses on that $63.35. So we netted almost $15,000 on note income. This is money that's coming in every single month. And as you can see, it went up 5.3% this month. And last month it was like 12%. So every single month we're adding to those notes. And they're sometimes 6, 7, 8 years that people will continue to pay this. The beautiful thing about land is if they stop paying us, okay, this is the potential question people have in their mind. If people stop paying on that land, there is no foreclosure process. It's a default on a land contract, which means I literally get the money, I get the land back, and I can turn around and resell it this afternoon to somebody else. There's no, red tape, bureaucracy to have to get somebody evicted from the property or whatever. And there's no maintenance, by the way. Like, there's nothing that goes wrong on land that's raw. Like, it is what it is. So these are the reasons why I love it, and the reason why it's very successful and continues to grow every single month.
Yeah. Hey, here's the cool part, guys. Like, it's so cool that, Russ and Joey being super transparent. Like, they literally pulled up an active spreadsheet to show you the numbers. And the cool part here is our friends like completely manage this product. I will tell you this one, Russ and Joey do nothing. They don't even know how to access their account. They have no idea what's in it. It just makes money month after month after month. And if you are interested in the land stuff, feel free to just put, again, Amy's going to watch this, just put a land : your email. That way we'll know that you're interested, and then we'll send you information about the land stuff. So just put your land : email. That will be super helpful, right?
Sharran, yeah, on the SCR stuff, you knew to just ask, because we meet with our operator at least once a week, right? So you knew there was going to be some level of time we put into that, maybe a little promotion, like just throwing it out there on Facebook. We cannot do anything to this business. Like, there's nothing that our partners will not let us get involved in any shape or form. They're like, please, no, just stay away. And I'm like, yes, I will obey that.
It's so good. Thank you guys for adding. I'm again happy to help you. There's nothing for, we want to give you the information. I will ask you this. A couple of people messaged me on this one and asked about, hey, so how do I get all of these ideas? How do you guys, like, Russ, Joey, and I, we wish we had more time because we have way too many passive income ideas because we think about this often, right? One thing that is coming up, which I'd love to, and maybe Russ, you can pull up the website. One thing that I will tell you, which is very cool, is there are limited seats, so this is not for everybody, but Russ, Joey, and I, and they put an amazing event together called the Passive Income Mastermind. It's in Austin, Texas, and it's coming up next month. And you probably last fall was amazing. Maybe Russ, you can talk just very briefly about how it's going to work.
Yeah, this is something that is definitely a passion project for Joey and I, and it would only have been possible would never have been possible without your help, Sharran. So thank you for forcing us to do this. Your thumb in our back is what made this thing happen. We did this event last year in Nashville. We had an amazing group of people that came together that shared what they were doing to build passive income, to reduce their tax burdens, as well as to build kind of the infrastructure to make it all sticky, right? Like, we've all been a part of different types of masterminds, different investment groups, but what was missing out there was really, one, the sharing of that content, and then also some of those other little things, right? Like, we can make amazing amounts of money, but if we have to pay 40 to 60% taxes on it, then that's not really great, right? So how can we build that, as well as how do we protect it from all those other things? So that's what the Passive Income Mastermind was intended to do. We created an event that happens twice a year. We have an event coming up next month, which we're excited about. It's going to be in Austin. I know there was somebody on the call, I think, from Austin. You probably know this place. We rented out this whole boutique hotel and took it over for a couple of days while we're there. And the goal while we're there is to basically mastermind with one another and to be able to find out how to take strategies from some of the top minds in the world and implement them for ourselves. So we have one of the top investment guys out there, Dave Zook. He's done over $100 million in syndications. He's going to be sharing some deals. Going to be there for a couple of days. Got one of the passive income attorneys is going to teach us how to syndicate our own deals, how to put together deals, how to be able to use other people's money wisely. We have one of our tax attorney groups that's going to be there showing some of the strategies that the three of us deploy to reduce our tax burden every single year by 6 to 7 figures sometimes. Got the top crypto guy. Man, this is amazing. Like, obviously, crypto's hot right now. I don't know if you guys are doing crypto personally, but Joey and I got introduced to Bob in 2017 and built a whole mining platform that is another one of our passive income streams that's continue to do better and better every single month. It's just one of the things I wish I would have done more of back in 2017. But he helped the country of El Salvador recently actually turn their currency to Bitcoin. He just spoke down at the Bitcoin conference in Miami that just happened last week. Obviously, Sharran, you're going to be there sharing some strategies on how to exit businesses. Mark Podolsky, the brains behind the land flipping stuff, is there. A guy named Mitch Steven, that is probably somebody that, unless you're following the real estate world, you probably don't even know who this guy's name is, but you should have. He's only done about 2,000 home purchases on owner financing. So not only buying a house every 2 to 3 days for the last 20 years, but also then using other people's money to purchase it, turning around and owner financing it and making money off both sides of that deal. Super impressive. It is an amazing event. But the thing I love about this is that we built it to where you notice there's not 30 presenters here. Actually, during the main day, we only have 3 presenters, and we're leaving time in there to network and to mastermind, and then using the dinners to maybe use some of those other presenters to share and to connect. So it's going to be a fabulous event. I put a video in a YouTube link in the chat. If you want to go on there and check it out, if it's something you're interested in, there's a link that you can apply to attend and come and be with us, man. We would love to have you if it's a good fit for you.
Awesome. Super cool. Hey, that was, hopefully y'all are interested. We don't have a lot of spots for that. So it would, because the boutique hotel is pretty boutique. But what we promised was this, which is, I'm going to put this little link in the chat. Oh, sorry. I kind of hit it 3 times. But it should be super easy for you. As we got started, hopefully this was helpful to you. If you could please take 10 seconds and just click that little survey and say, hey, this is what I'm interested in. This is what was interesting to us. That would be really helpful, because it'll give us a chance to see how we did, what actually connected with you, and how we can in some way be helpful to you as well. If you're interested in coming to Russ, Joey, if they're interested in coming to the event, what should they do?
So I threw that YouTube back in there, and the link's in there. So not only can you hear, again, kind of what's going to happen, but you can click on that and it gives you the details to be able to apply to attend. So the only caveat is you must be an accredited investor. And if you are, and you feel like this would be a good fit for you, go in there, click that link and apply. Love to have you.
Awesome. If you don't mind, please just do that survey. And what Russ and Joey and I will do, we'll stick around for a minute. There were a couple of quick questions in the chat, and we'll answer them. But please, just fill out the survey for us. It would mean a lot to us. All right, because that was the only ask for today. Before we go, if you have a question or a thought as you're doing this, can you just put it in the chat? I'll answer a couple things that did come up. As far as land stuff goes, yes, flight school is your easiest way to go about it. If you want info, our team will send you some info. Just put land in the chat. That way we'll pick it up and send you info. And if this was helpful, I would love if you can just put, hey, this was helpful. Put the one thing that you thought was cool. Hopefully you didn't have to veer away from your devices and get that we were too boring for you. Josh, we always invite Josh, so he makes us feel really good about ourselves. Josh, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Hopefully this was good. Hopefully this was interesting. Hopefully this opened your mind and your eyes up to what can be done, what can actually happen, that you don't have to wait till you are, 70, 80, 90 to actually live the life that you want to live today. You can actually go down to the boardwalk with your children today and not have to do it 2 hours after. You don't have to sit on the side of the pool and be on your laptop like sometimes I do. But that's also, I'm obsessive and I need to do better with that. Awesome. Land flipping was interesting. Rental arbitrage was a great topic. Love the T-shirt. You like this? This was a little thingy that Russ and Joey pay me in shirts.
Turn around. That was the one thing we missed in this. Can you highlight him? Stop talking, Joey. Hold on 1 second. Let me spotlight this guy. There we go. Look at those delts in this guy. Look at this guy been hitting the gym. 200% bigger. That's what that's for, right, Joe?
That's right.
No, that's not what it's for. 200%. 200% stands for, we want to, the purpose of that mastermind, the purpose of that retreat is to actually grow our passive income to exceed our monthly expenses by 200%. Because what I think about this is that anything has to do with passive income, it's going to give us two things. It's going to give us time freedom. It's going to give us financial freedom. It's going to give us peace of mind, right? All those things are there. But the also thing that it gives us the opportunity to pass that knowledge down, because every one of us, the guarantee we have on here is that every one of us is going to die at some point, right? And none of us know when. Man, if we build passive income and we do not share this with other people, we don't share it with kids, we don't share it with other family members, shame on us. Like, man, if you're crushing your business right now and you're not taking passive income, taking those business dollars and creating passive income, shame on you, right? But building passive income greater than our monthly expenses gives us a thought process to think generationally. And that's what I love about this. That was the mission behind this is to build that.
Speaking of, I failed to mention this, but I'm such a big fan of the land business. My 15-year-old daughter, who just turned 16 today, now owns 100 acres of land in Texas and is actively building her own business that she's doing while she is homeschooled, and literally, we're waiting on the first sale to happen. It's been kind of start, stop, but she owns 100 acres in Texas right now. What 16-year-old do you know that is actively building a business and will create her own passive income streams? That's the kind of stuff that I get fired up about with our mastermind, is that it's freeing me up to be spending time with her to do that.
So good. Hey, we appreciate you guys being on. If you have not taken that, can you please jump in on the survey? It doesn't take you anywhere. It doesn't tell you anything. It gives us a chance to figure out what connected with you and how we can support you going forward. So hopefully this was fun.
Ashley has a quick question, Sharran.
Yeah, let's do it.
If you had a story, like a short story, where would you put it to earn off of it? So I'm assuming as like an author is what she's saying. Like she's authored a book or a short story. What would you do to earn for that?
The first thing that I would do is, if you have a short story, the first thing I would do is I would put it as a Kindle 99-cent download. That's the first thing I would do. The second thing, right now the Audible platform is really powerful. Amazon's pushing Audible more than anything else. There's a lot of books that actually are being Audible only. People are just buying it with their Audible credits. What you can do is do two things. Let me give you, if this was not worth it at all, I'll give you the hack right now, right? You record an Audible only story. Essentially, you record the story, and then after the story, you talk about how you created it, the story behind it, the story behind the story, etc. And then make that one Audible credit or whatever. Then you go on Audible and you take the Audible referral affiliate link and you send it out to all your friends and saying, hey, if you have an Audible account, you can use one of your credits to grab this. There's no money. If you don't have an Audible account, here's a link to sign up for Audible for free, and it will give you a free download for my book. When someone signs up for Audible's free account, you start now making passive income for every credit that they buy. So literally, all you have to do is put your book on Audible, Whoever has a credit downloads, whoever doesn't have a credit uses your free link. If they now subscribe, you don't have to do anything, and Amazon pays you.
Brilliant.
So if that was not interesting, our 2 days in Austin is going to be like that for 2 full days. So
So
awesome.
good. I mean,
Awesome.
this is amazing. I love it. Thank you for sharing.
All right. Hey, we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being on. Big thanks to my advisors, Russ and Joey, for always just keeping my head on straight and helping me believe that there's a faster path to walking down the boardwalk at the same time. Right?
Love it.
Awesome. Hey, I appreciate you guys. And Joey, happy birthday to your daughter, which is so cool. We'll catch y'all very soon. And for those of you who see you in Austin, see you in Austin. Cool. Awesome. Talk soon. Bye.